This machine has 3 applique blanket stitches. I've stitched out 3 different versions here, starting with row 2, stitch number 10, stitch number 11, and stitch number 12. Now this first one has a stitch out to the side and then 2 stitches forward. The second stitch is a multi-version where it stitches back and forth 4 times back and forth here and then 3 times back and forth. That really gives you a heavier look without changing to a heavier thread. And then this one's the one you probably see more often. Now you notice it is much smaller, but that's just the way it's saved. So you can always make this bigger. This is a fun one to do. So I'm going to notice it starts off with a stitch width of 2 and a stitch length of 2. I like to keep them proportional. So I'm going to just take it up to 3 in the width and 3 in the length. So it's just going to be a little bit bigger. I also prefer to use a foot that I can see into, like an open toe foot, but I'm going to just use the foot it recommends, which is A here. And then I'm going to sink the needle down so it starts on the raw edge of the applique shape. I'm just going to start with those locking stitches. And then as I go, I want to stop with the needle in the down position, which it is. But before I do any pivoting or lifting, I want to make sure that the needle has bumped back out to the right side of the stitch. Otherwise, pivoting with that in the left side, well, that's not going to work very well. And as you go, you're just going to lift and turn that just a little at a time, keeping the stitch coming forward right along the base fabric and along the raw edge. I've taken and kind of used some spray adhesive to hold that little heart in place. I've also got some Tearaway Stabilizer that will tear away easily when I'm actually done. That will help keep your stitches from kind of wrinkling your fabric. It will really keep everything looking nice and flat. Now, as we go around curves, that's what takes a little extra time. So just take your time, work your way around. Once you get an open toe foot, I guarantee you this will be much more fun because you can actually see where you're going and not just kind of guess as you're trying to look through this bar that's in front of the needle. I guess I'm a little spoiled there. Just check with your local Husqvarna Viking dealer for that particular foot. So I'm going to just tap my toe to get that needle to jump back. I'm just really trying to keep the stitches that are coming in to be perpendicular to the edge. So as I go around the heart, I want to kind of take some time to turn just a little bit as you go. We'll get you just a little bit more part of this. If you need a locking stitch immediately, touch the fix button on the front of your machine and that will lock for you. And then you can cut your thread. One thing I always recommend is as you take a look at what the settings for the blanket stitch should be, that it's in proportion to the project you're working with. If this looks too big for a smaller, say like a little berry, something small like a circle, that's when you're going to go ahead and make it a little bit narrower and a little bit shorter. Like I said, just keep the proportion even. If it's 2, it's 2 for length and width, or if you're making it bigger, make it 3 to 3, 4 to 4, and so forth. So enjoy and always practice a little bit of your sample it out and see what's really going to look good. Have fun using all 3 blanket stitches on your next project.